So as we look at number two, asking which sequence of transformations, so more than one transformations. Remember what our transformations are? There are translations, a slide, our rotations, a turn, our reflections, we can flip it over an axis, our reflections, or our dilations, making it bigger or smaller. So which series of transformations best represents our movement starting at A, B, C, D, and moving to WXYZ. So a tricky little problem. So here's how I think it's best to do this. Go through each one and pick a point and see if I rotate it 9 degrees clockwise. So I take this right here at negative 1, 2, and I rotate it 9 degrees clockwise. It's going to be at 2, 1. So clockwise, as the clock goes, it's going to put it over here. And then from there, you go right 2, down 1. Obviously, that's not putting D on Z. And I could have done that with any point. I could have started with A and said, okay, let me rotate it 90 degrees clockwise from negative 4, 2 would be at 2, 4. And then down 2, or right 2, down 1, that wouldn't work. So picking any of the points, follow these directions and see if it works. So we just said A is not our answer. What about B? Let's rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise. So clockwise, remember, goes as the clock goes to the right from noon to 1 to 2 to 3 and so on, while counterclockwise starts and goes the other direction from noon, goes backwards to 11, goes that way, so to the left from your top as opposed to that way. So if I go from here counterclockwise, I'm taking it down into this quadrant right here, and then can I go right 2, down 1 to get to corresponding points? So for example, if I'm going from A to W, I start right here at negative 4, 2, and I would go to negative 2, 4, bringing it down here. So this point right here would go to right there. And then I go right 2, down 1, and that looks like it has potential because that A, when we rotate it down here, go right 2, down 1, does give us that. So that looks like it has potential. Let's try another point though. Let's try this point of negative 1, 2 would be at negative 2, 1. So I'm hoping D goes on Z if I go right 2 and down 1. And again, that does work. So that's going to be our correct answer, letter B. If we tried other ones, counterclockwise and went left 2, up 1, not going to work for that one because that A at negative 4, 2 is going to be at negative 2, 4, and then left 2, up 1 doesn't transform it to another point on that one. Rotating it 90 degrees clockwise would rotate it back here, and then flipping it over the y-axis would be putting it right back in that space. So as we kind of visualize and think of the other three, also keeping in mind, if it's on paper and pencil, you can always anchor that and turn it to see that those rotations, because the rotations tend to be the more challenging pieces of that. But the only one of these that would be correct is if I rotate it counterclockwise 90 degrees, go right 2, down 1, that's transforming any point onto its corresponding point.